Hi computer scientists, Mr. Stafford here, and today I wanted to show you Unit 5, Lesson 6, Applying Standard Algorithms. And I'm skipping the first couple of levels because those are going to be your group project, but on level number 5, it's asking us to import owner.java from our backpack. So I'm going to go to Backpack, find owner, import that, and then it says write the method max inventory that updates the quantity available for each dessert based on a minimum quantity specified. So then it goes into a little bit more detail about what that means. And so if the quantity specified is less than the largest quantity of a dessert or a food truck, the largest quantity is used. Okay? And then the second bullet says if the quantity specified is greater or equal to the largest quantity of a dessert for a food truck, the quantity specified is used. Okay, so let's take a look at what that actually means. So the example that they have for me is a 2D array of inventories, so 6, 3, 12, 24, 0, 30. The next truck is 12, 6, 18, and the last truck is 9, 1, and 7. So if I am calling this method max inventory, so I'm going to say max inventory, and then I specify that a quantity of 20, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each individual truck and I'm going to determine if 20 is a value that is larger than the largest value already in the truck. And so I look at 6, 3, and 12, and I see that 20 is larger than that. So this first truck would go 20, 20, 20. Okay. The next truck, I see that 24 is larger than 20, and also 30 is larger than 20. And so what this is saying, if the quantity specified is less than the largest quantity of a dessert for a food truck, the largest quantity is used. So 20 is less than 30, which is the largest. So the largest quantity is going to be used. So the second food truck is going to be 30, 30, 30. Okay? And then this next one, 20 is larger than any of these numbers, 12, 6, and 18. So it's going to be, it's going to be 20, 20, and 20 again. And then the last one, 9, 1, and 7, that's also going to be 20, 20, and 20. Okay, so that's the purpose of max inventory. And so now that we kind of have that under control, what we're going to do is try to program this thing up. All right. So now that we know how max inventories should work, let's flow back over to owner, and I'm going to copy and paste this method skeleton that they've got for me and make sure my curly braces are in the right spot, and let's try to write this thing. Okay, so we got public void max inventories, and then we feed it a parameter of a minimum quantity that the truck should have. So to do, update the quantities for each dessert to either min quantity or the maximum quantity for that specific food truck. Okay, so I'm going to scoot these comments over and start down here. So let's start with a for loop. So int I, let's start with a row. Int row is going to be 0. Row is going to be less than our instance variable of truck inventories. I'm going to grab it from above. Truck inventories dot length row plus plus, and our, let's see. Currently, I'm looking at the truck. Okay, at a specific truck because each row indicates a different truck. So what I want to do is find the maximum value for that specific truck. And to do that right now, I'm just going to make a temporary max value. So I'm going to say int max inventory. Okay, so this is the maximum value that I'm finding to represent inventory in this truck. So max inventory is going to be equal to truck inventories at the current row or the current truck that I'm looking at. And then I'm going to set it equal to the very first inventory that I see in that truck. So if I flow back over to this example, the maximum value that I'm setting it to is 6. Now we can look at this and see that that is not true, but I need to start somewhere. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll through this truck inventories and determine if 6 actually is the largest value in that truck or not. Okay. So I'm going to make a for loop. I'm going to do for int call, because we're running through the columns, is equal to 0. Call is going to be less than truck inventories at index 0 dot length and call plus plus. Okay, open up that curly brace. So I want an if statement. If, and I want to determine if this max inventory that I'm saying is the very first item, the very first inventory in this truck, if that is less than the current item or current element that I'm looking at in truck inventories, then that's a problem. Okay, and I want to change what my max inventory is. So if max inventory is less than truck inventories at row call, then what I need to do is reset max inventory and set it equal to this truck inventories row call that I'm currently looking at. Okay, so like, again, for example, once I get to the end of this 12, end of the truck, I see 12. And up until this point, yeah, 6 was bigger than 3, but is 6 smaller than 12, which is how I have my if statement written. Is 6 smaller than 12? Well, yeah, it is. So then I need to reset that max inventory equal to that 12. Okay, so that's what I've got there with that current quantity. And I also want to determine this. So I've got that max inventory, but I also have this like minimum quantity. I also have that minimum quantity there. And I want to determine if my max inventory is smaller than that minimum quantity. So I'm going to also do another if statement. So if max inventory is smaller than that minimum quantity, then I'm going to reset max inventory. I'm going to reset max inventory equal to that minimum quantity. Okay. So at the end of this for loop, I've checked two things. I've checked that the maximum inventory is bigger than anything in, I've made sure that it is set equal to, the largest thing in the truck, the largest inventory in the truck. And I've also checked that it is set equal to, if this minimum quantity is bigger than anything in the truck, I have set it equal to that. Okay, so I'm done with this inner for loop. And the next thing that I need to do is reset the values in that truck to either be like the largest element in the truck, or if this minimum quantity parameter is larger than any inventory in the truck, I've set it equal to that. So I'm going to need another for loop, again running through the columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do int call is going to be equal to 0 again. Column is still going to be less than. You know what? I'm going to copy and paste this because it's going to be the same exact for loop from above. Okay. And what the purpose is is to reset truck inventories at the row and the column equal to this maximum inventory. Okay, I'm going to run this. It's complete. Okay, very good. I don't have any errors so far, and I need to check and see if this is going to work out. Keep in mind the example from before. Actually, I'm going to hit finish because it doesn't tell me to test it here, but I believe that it does on the next level. And it does. So it says in myfoodtruck.java, test the max inventory method. Call the method with multiple values and print the contents of the inventory array to check the results. Okay, let's see if our logic works out. So let's do food truck owner dot max inventory, and let's feed it 20. And I want to do a system dot out dot println, and I need to print this in a for loop, actually, if I want to see in the nested for loop, if I want to see all of those values. So let's do for int row equals 0. In row is going to be less than inventories dot length row plus plus. Do the same for column. For int call is equal to 0. Call is going to be less than inventories at index 0 dot length and call plus plus. All right, so I'm going to grab this system.out.println, and I'm going to print inventories at row call, make it pretty, give it a comma and a space, and then do another system.out.println just to add a space in my print statement. Okay, oops, I forgot a semicolon on line 20. Let's run this. And instead of a print line, should have done a print. Okay, let's test our printout. And I get 20, 20, 20, 30, 30, 30, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Perfect. All right, cool. And you can test this with a couple of different inventories. Let's try it with 7 and determine if that's okay. 12 is bigger than 7. 30 was bigger than 7, 18 is bigger than 7, and 9 was bigger than 7. And all of these values are the maximum value inside of these trucks, okay? And they were all bigger than 7. If I try 40, they should all hopefully get changed to be 40 because 40 is larger than any of the values in any of those trucks. And I want to clear this console, stop and run this. I may need to refresh the page. Sometimes that happens. And rerun this. And 40 works out. Okay, very good. I believe the next level is a check for understanding. Please complete that, and that's it for Unit 5, Lesson 6, Applying Standard Algorithms.